going on, guys? Thank you so very much for joining me right here on Off the Script. This is your AEW Dynamite review for February 5th, 2020. Tonight was the night that Cody Rhodes got lashed. Lashed in the back by MJF and Cody's own leather belt, because MJF didn't want to use his obviously expensive and much more nicer leather belt. What a segment, man. Let's pray that Cody Rhodes manages to get some sleep tonight after the way he looked. I doubt he'll be sleeping at all on his back. Never mind sleep, on his back in general. But man, oh man, what a segment that was to close Dynamite. That was absolutely fantastic television. Fantastic television in every sense of the word. And I stated on social media, on Twitter, right after Dynamite went off the air, that segment might have been the best produced Dynamite segment in all 18 weeks so far. That was the most perfect Dynamite segment to date. And man, you know, I know a lot of what we talk about is very subjective. You like who you like. I like who I like. We all like who we like. We're fans of who we like. We also are fans of different brands and companies. And, you know, we are very vocal as a community. But I don't really know how anybody can shit on Cody Rhodes. I don't really understand how you could. Now, I mentioned everything that we talk about being subjective. And I'm going to throw a subjective opinion out there. Whether you guys agree with me or not, I don't really give a shit. It's my opinion. What I say here is what I say. It's my show. If you guys want to go out there and express yourself to people yourselves, then go out there and create your own Off the Script. Go get your own podcast. Cody Rhodes is the greatest storyteller in all of pro wrestling right now. There's nobody better. There's nobody better in the world right now as far as what he is doing, emotionally investing people on their emotions, selling, storytelling, just literally everything in regards to that aspect. Nobody is doing it better than Cody Rhodes. And a lot of people are just out there saying that, oh, what's so special about this? We just seen this at the Royal Rumble between Bray Wyatt and Daniel Bryan. If I need to explain the differences to you, then you really prove to me how idiotic and stupid you really are. This was absolutely fantastic television. And MJF, never mind the fact that MJF is in a high-profile match with Cody Rhodes. MJF is learning along the way and getting better along the way. MJF is TV gold in what he does. Working with Cody, simply working with Cody, is going to take MJF and everything that he has done great up until this point, and it's going to bring him to the next level. And I physically see it in the way he is acting, the way he sells his emotions. There was a little glimpse of remorse and sympathy from MJF right before he kicked Cody square in the dick. Awesome, awesome stuff. Unbelievable stuff. We're going to go over. I took detailed notes on every lash that Cody took tonight. What an unbelievable segment. And we're going to go over the vast differences. Simple and few, but they are vast differences between Daniel Bryan, Bray Wyatt, and that strap match, which was great in its own right. Don't get me wrong. But there wasn't that little piece of importance in that strap match compared to what we've seen with Cody and MJF tonight. The other two big storylines going on in AEW right now that are pretty much spearheading AEW Revolution, February 29th in Chicago. I shall not be there, unfortunately. Who knows? I might make a last-minute decision. Who knows? But the other two big storylines in AEW right now are Jon Moxley and Chris Jericho for the AEW World Championship. Eye for an eye. It is now eye for an eye. After what Jericho did to Moxley, Moxley found his opening to get some sort of revenge, not on Jericho, but on the inner circle. And that's exactly what he did tonight. And unfortunately, Santana was the unfortunate culprit in Jon Moxley's madness, I shall say, tonight on Dynamite. So that is brewing. And then we got Adam Hangman Page and his alcoholic problems. They have finally seeped into getting the Young Bucks upset and pushing them to a point where they are now questioning his alcohol problems. They pretty much said, without saying it to him, that the reason why you are messing up and the problems that you have right now, they're all stemming from your alcoholism. You're an alcoholic, bro. And Adam Hangman Page did everything possible to show them and everybody that he doesn't give a single shit about what he does or what he thinks. He doesn't give a shit. So that 8-man tag was awesome, and the story behind that entire 8-man tag was the breakdown of Adam Hangman Page and his relationship with the Elites. So we're going to go over that and everything else that happened on what I thought was a solid Dynamite show tonight for February 5, 2020. I am JD. Thank you guys so very much for joining me here on the podcast. If you missed my Monday Night Raw review, go and check that out. Link will be down in the description of this very video. If you missed Off the Scripts this past weekend, fire episode, like it always is. Best podcast in the YouTube wrestling community. Make sure you guys go and check that out. Link will be down in the description for that as well in this very video down below. I appreciate all of that. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. Turn on that bell for all notifications. Make sure you have all the notifications turned on. Not frequently, not sometimes, all uploads. You guys got to get all those uploads, and you got to be notified of every single one of them. And make sure you guys, like I said, hit that subscribe button down below. Follow me on social media, Twitter, at JD from NY206. We're running a big giveaway on my Instagram. If you guys want to go and check that out, at JD from NY206 on Instagram. It is being sponsored by my good friends over at Tavor. If you guys go and look at my latest post, the rules and regulations are listed there in that, I guess, picture. Make sure you guys scroll and read the caption of the video or the picture I have posted there, and everything you need is there. All you have to do is like the picture, and I'm going to choose somebody by next week's Monday Night Raw. Follow Tavor as well. That's one of the rules there. Follow Tavor on Instagram. Like the picture, and I will choose somebody. One lucky winner will win a $100 gift card, pretty much from Tavor. And you guys can go and buy anything you want via Tavor. It's awesome, 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 and I want to thank them for helping me out with that. If you guys want to go and get your t-shirts, man, they are still on sale. They will be on sale. The YWC Messiah t-shirt, link for that will be down in the description as well. Bonfire.com is the home of the YWC Messiah. Follow me, my sons. Follow me, my sons, and go and buy a t-shirt. Become one of my off-the-script disciples. I'd love to see some of those shirts worn at AEW Revolution. Make sure you go and get that as well. And I want to thank everybody for all of your support right here on the podcast. Let's get into the news and notes on what happened with Dynamite tonight, man. Show opened up with Jon Moxley looking all solid snake-like, as always. He went one-on-one with Ortiz of Proud and Powerful. Very interesting to see either Santana or Ortiz work a solo match without each other. And I know how good they are. I've been calling their matches for 2 years in House of Glory. I know how both of those guys can be. I know the emotion and passion that they put into a promo or a video package. This was going to be awesome. I knew this was going to be awesome from the get-go. Santana and Ortiz, if there's anybody in the company that can bring it with Jon Moxley in the way Jon Moxley likes to bring it, it's Santana and Ortiz, no question. Jericho comes out with the rest of the Inner Circle, and it looks like Jericho has another piece of merchandise. He was wearing a bandana around his neck that said Le Champion. I wonder if that's being sold on AEW Shop via Pro Wrestling Tees. So we'll figure that out sooner rather than later. But Moxley clotheslined Ortiz out of the ring early. Moxley then grabbed a chair to intimidate both him and Santana. Back in the ring, enziguri and a DDT. Beautiful DDT by Ortiz for a 2 count. On the outside now, Moxley thrown into the steel barricade and then into the steel steps, which looked absolutely vicious. Moxley, after hitting the steel steps, was holding his eye. So the eye is the issue once again. Back in the ring, camel clutch by Ortiz. He was digging into Moxley's eye. Moxley broke free, ate a sit-out powerbomb, which netted Ortiz another very close near fall on Jon Moxley. Ortiz took his time, ran the ropes. Moxley caught him, slammed him, and applied a figure 4. Ortiz poked Moxley in the eye to break free. The good eye. Smart. Ortiz over the top now to the outside. Moxley with a suicide dive on Santana. I never liked Moxley's suicide dive. It just brings me back to his terrible last year in WWE. Awful suicide dive. I don't know whose suicide dive is worse, Moxley's or Rollins. I'd probably have to go with Rollins at this point. His just looks absolutely weak. But Moxley with a suicide dive on Santana. Throws Ortiz into the crowd front row. Back in the ring now, Moxley with a sidewalk slam. Moxley with a near fall and a 2 count following that sidewalk slam. He then forearms Ortiz, and Ortiz is retaliating Moxley's forearms with his scratch. His old school scratch, which he calls the Tiger Claw. I don't know, he does it better than I do, but the Tiger Claw wasn't working, and Jim Ross even noted that on commentary. It ain't working. It ain't having no effect, man. Moxley now over the top. He hits the apron on the way down. Ortiz with a beautiful cannonball dive through the middle rope. Back in the ring, fisherman suplex, big splash off the top by Ortiz. 2 count. At this point, I know you're thinking, man, this Ortiz can go. I know. Moxley created some separation with a clothesline, so both guys are down. Santana gets up on the apron to distract, and Ortiz accidentally ran into him, knocked him down. Ortiz then turned around into a paradigm shift, and Moxley gets the win. So that was pretty basic. Nobody went into this thing thinking that Ortiz was going to get one over on Jon Moxley. It's not going to happen. Moxley's got the world title match in about 3 weeks, or 4 weeks, at AEW Revolution. So why would he go into this thing losing? So Moxley obviously wins, and that's the right decision, of course. After the match, Santana blindsided Moxley. He ate an absolutely devastating paradigm shift. He sold the shit out of that DDT. Fans were chanting Moxley. Then he pulls out the keys to the Ford GT. Remember the good old Ford GT? He starts dangling them at Jericho on commentary. Jericho was on commentary for this match. Takes the keys. He starts dangling them to Jericho. Jericho's he's pretty much explaining that's his property. That's his car. I want it back. So he takes the key and positions the key in between his fingers. He takes the key and he keyed Santana right in the eye for revenge after what the Inner Circle did to his eye. Mainly Chris Jericho taking the spike off of his jacket and then slamming it into his eye, which is the result of what happened there with the eye patch. So he does the same thing, but this time not with a spike off of a jacket, but he takes the keys, which is beautiful poetry, right? It's just a beautiful thing. Fuck the car. I don't give a shit about the car. I took the car and I made you all look like fools, and I'm going to take the car keys and do the same thing that you did to me, to your boy here, Santana. It is truly an eye for an eye, and I love it. It's awesome. After that, Hager and Guevara and the Undisputed Era. Undisputed Era. Inner Circle. Holy shit. Slap myself in the face for that one. Undisputed. You know why I'm thinking of the Undisputed Era? Because, and yes, I just legitimately slapped myself in the face. I'm thinking of the Undisputed Era because I turned on NXT after, I can't wait to watch NXT, by the way. I want to see what they do with Charlotte. and Rhea Ripley. But I turned on NXT in the overrun, and Velveteen Dream, I turned it on USA Network. I see the entire arena dark, and I see the Velveteen Dream standing on top of the ring apron. Spoiler, spoiler, spoiler. Kiss my ass. There you go. You're going to watch it anyway, so what's the difference? Undisputed Era, and he beat up the Undisputed Era. 4-on-1, he beat up the Undisputed Era. If that doesn't signal a demotion to the main roster, I don't know what does. The Inner Circle. I'm sorry for disrespecting the Inner Circle here. It's an eye for an eye for the Inner Circle. So I'm loving it. I think it's great, and I'm very interested to see what these two guys do, Moxley and Jericho. I'm very interested to see what they do at Revolution, man. It should be a good one. Should be an old school classic championship match. The makings of a great championship match at Revolution. This show flowed match to match to match. It was very nice. I would have enjoyed a little bit of slowdown. We went from Biss right into the next one. SCU, Frankie Kazarian and Scorpio Sky versus the Best Friends, Chucky T and Trent with Orange Cassidy. Now, at this point, I mean, I don't really, and I've said this a couple of times now for both of these teams. You know, the Best Friends really aren't a team with a lot of momentum. You know, SCU is the number one team in the rankings, but I feel like they don't really have any momentum. I don't know if that is just me or if it's you guys as well. I just don't feel like they have any real momentum. Right? And they made that an issue here on commentary. SCU's the number one team. Best Friends and the number 5 team. Best Friends with a win here can pretty much catapult themselves right to the top of the AEW Tag Team division. I love it. I love hearing statistics and analysis like that. Scorpio Sky has an amazing dropkick. That was one of the things that I took away from this match. There was a sequence where Sky and Chuck were in the ring. Chuck was flexing. Sky did a kip up off the ropes, and Scorpio Sky with a drop kick to Chucky T. Absolutely beautiful, man. Absolutely fantastic. On the outside, Sky Irish whipped Trent into the steel barricade. Trent bounced off the barricade with a spear, took Sky down. Kazarian joined in, and German suplex Trent on the outside. So that's some pretty brutal stuff there. Chuck flew off the steel steps with a blockbuster neckbreaker to Kazarian. All 4 men were down. Orange Cassidy sees all this, and he walks over. He finds a spot, and he lays down next to all 4 guys, chilling as we go to commercial break. So obviously with Trent going into the steel barricade, he sold the damage from that and the suplex on the floor for the rest of the match. SCU took over with a swinging DDT from Kazarian. Commentary made mention that they didn't know how that match wasn't over after that DDT. Trent made a comeback with a knee strike and some one-legged drop kicks. The finish came when Sky drop kicked Kazarian in the back as Kazarian hit a destroyer on Trent, and that was it for the 1, 2, 3. The match was pretty much the background for what happened after the match. This was pretty much why we were here in the first place, and that is the Dark Order. The Dark Order ran down. They beat up SCU. Evil Uno was the last one to show face. He walked down in his mask, in his suit. He was very elated to see what was going on here. After they disposed of SCU, they all stood in the ring to pose. And Orange Cassidy, who I guess was still chilling on the outside, he was still lingering around on the outside. He got in the ring to face off with Evil Uno and the Dark Order. Now, Evil Uno told his minions to stay behind. I got this. This guy is not a threat to us in any which way. And Orange Cassidy was presented with a Dark Order mask. So instead of grabbing the mask, Orange Cassidy put his hands in the air and then put his hands in his pocket. To a chant of freshly squeezed, the guy is the most over wrestler in the entire company and he hasn't done a goddamn fucking thing but put his hands in his pockets and give half-assed thumbs up. It's awesome. So he got beat up for his comedic troubles, of course, because this was like a 5-on-1, a 6-on-1 beatdown. Christopher Daniels ran down to chase off the Dark Order, but they did not retreat. They backed away very slowly because they want Christopher Daniels in the Dark Order. He kept yelling at them to come in the ring. He's even laying down and almost offering himself as a sacrifice to get beat up just so that he could get his hands on the Dark Order. They ended up walking away, and that was the segment. Couple of things here. I thought this was great with Orange Cassidy. It's just there, so you might as well just take advantage of it. I mean, it's just a good visual, and the crowd ate it up. He's over. I don't think anything Orange Cassidy does is not going to get over these days. I mean, you put him out there, crowd is going to cheer him, and they're going to be over for him. He's that cool, and he's probably one of the main reasons why AEW is winning in that key 18 to 49 demographic. They're just cool. Orange Cassidy is cool. But this entire storyline with the Dark Order, man, I don't know where they're going with it. I don't know how invested you guys are in it. They got to get rid of the creepers. It's very difficult to me to see the creepers in the ring with, you know, the Beaver Boys and Stu Grayson and then Evil Uno, who's kind of orchestrating all of this madness. The creepers look like they are fucking stagehands from the back that they just grab randomly and put masks on. And then they have them go out there flailing away, throwing embarrassments, you know, punches that would be labeled embarrassments in the pro wrestling world. One of the bigger guys, one of the fucking minions, right? The creepers was kicking Scorpio Sky in the most weakest fucking feeble way possible. It looks bad. It comes off as bad. It comes off as second rate. Seriously, I want to take this and I want to enjoy it. But I'm looking at, what am I going to dislike about this now? That's the way I look at this shit. Seriously. And another thing, why am I to look at this group as something solid? In the meantime, while we all wonder and ponder who the Exalted One is. Until the Exalted One is announced, or he's seen, nobody gives a shit about these guys. They just come off, they remind me of AEW's B Team. That's exactly what they remind me of. It's a loser stable. It's a stable of losers. Why should I care about them now? Nothing they're doing is getting me excited about them. All because you took two losers and brought them into the Dark Order, and now the fans are supposed to look at them as winners when the entire group has done nothing of importance yet? I don't see why I should be invested in this. This is pretty much dying until the Exalted One is announced. And when that day is, then we will care about what the Dark Order does and who the Dark Order is. And I tell you right now, if that Exalted One is not someone to generate any interest at all in this thing, you might as well just kill the entire fucking shtick. I know everybody's waiting for that to be Matt Hardy. And if it's not someone like a Matt Hardy, I don't think this stable or this storyline evolves into anything. It's just going to be exactly the way you see it on Dynamite right now, after tonight. That Exalted One needs to be something that's going to wow us and blow us away. If not, time to move on. Everybody's favorite female wrestler, Britt Baker, Dr. Britt Baker, by the way, versus Yuka Sakazaki, as Jim Ross stated tonight. Britt Baker got fireworks. Why? I don't know. Your answer's probably better than mine. Ross asked Excalibur to tell him about Yuka Sakazaki, but it was Yuka Sakazaki in the match. I don't know who Sakazaki was. JR, please get the names right. Listen, I love when JR does his thing, when Penelope Ford is out there. You know, there was a close-up of Penelope Ford from the side view, and he just let out one of them one-liners. Oh, I found out tonight that she's got blue eyes, implying that he was looking at everything but her eyes and her face. That's stuff I like. That's great. But Jim Ross, you know, on situations like this and in situations like this, on moments like this, it feels like he doesn't give a shit about, you know, particular people who are on this show. If he doesn't know who they are, or if he doesn't like it, he'll shit on them. He'll get over what he likes and he'll shit on what he doesn't like. It's not a podcast. It's not a podcast. If I did that, I wouldn't have a job in House of Glory. If I was the way I was on my podcast doing play-by-play commentary for House of Glory, I would not have a job. Constantly gets names wrong. He constantly is just in his own world. He is someone that is not calling the action for what it is in the ring. This is why I admire someone like Morrow. Now, I know he's not everybody's cup of tea, but there's no way anybody's watching a wrestling show and not excited when they hear Morrow call a fucking match. You know what's going on in the match. Ross will have his moments where he is giving you a glimpse of his knowledge, what someone needs to do, what they might be thinking in a certain situation in that ring. But if Jim Ross is not going to be a play-by-play announcer, I've said this weeks ago, and this means, I don't mean any disrespect towards Jim Ross. I just want him to be better. If he's not going to do the job of a play-by-play, then I think Tony Schiavone should be in there, and I think Excalibur should be there, and I think Taz should be on the show. Because if that's the case, then the show is going to have a little bit more of an important feel. When Jim Ross is there, I feel like half the time he doesn't even want to be there. And I get why Jim Ross is there. I get why he is the voice of this show, because his voice is the greatest of our generation. But if he's not doing the job, it's probably that time to get him away from the commentary booth and use him in a way that's going to utilize him for what he does best. He has an obvious eye for talent. So get him in a role that you can utilize him in that aspect, not in the commentary table. I think this show would be better off with Tony Schiavone leading the way. He's got a certain level of charisma that I didn't think he was going to have when he came back. Excalibur does a very good job. Cringy at times, but he's a very good color man or / play-by-play. And Taz should be on this show. Taz should be on this show. So that's my thought on Jim Ross. Yuka Sakazaki. Need I say more? Now, I don't give a shit about I was going to get her name wrong. Sakazaki. I don't give a shit about her, Yuka. But I at least want you to tell me who she is, what she's about, and get her name correctly. So they traded arm bars, arm ringers, arm wrenches, whatever you want to call them. They were in the middle of the ring jockeying for position. Baker forced Yuka into the corner, started choking her out. She did not adhere well to Aubrey Edwards and her officiating here. And by the way, here I am giving my take on Jim Ross and him getting names wrong, and I just, about 10, 15 minutes ago, mistaken the Inner Circle for the Undisputed Era. Hypocrite? I know there'll be some comments down below. JD's a hypocrite. Listen, motherfucker, it's my birthday tomorrow. I get one. Okay? Motherfucker. Anyway. Yuka made a comeback, hitting a big splash, I think. Excalibur called it her magical girl splash. I wish Yuka was so magical that she could make the AEW women's division a little bit better. I doubt it, but that's what he called it. Springboard off the top rope to the floor. Jim Ross made fun of the size difference between Baker and Yuka. And then, obviously, like I mentioned before, started mocking the name of her move, the magical girl splash. Maybe Jim Ross needs a little bit of that magic to fucking calm down on commentary. Back inside, Yuka hit a lariat and a rolling elbow. Baker cut her off with a super kick and then hit a neck breaker for a near fall. Baker went for the lockjaw. Yuka pulled Baker into a crucifix and pinned the Doctor for a surprise victory. I honestly thought they were going to bring in Yuka Sakazaki for Britt Baker to pretty much swallow and get an easy win over. But this went the opposite way, and I was pleasantly surprised. After the match, Baker grabbed the ring bell. She went to use it on Yuka, and Aubrey came in and took the bell from Britt Baker. So she escaped out of the ring with the ring bell, but that left Yuka and Britt Baker in the ring. So Sakazaki was in the ring, and Baker then puts her on the bottom rope, puts her mouth on the bottom rope, and starts stomping her face and her teeth onto the bottom rope. Yuka's teeth were literally biting the bottom rope, and Britt Baker did like a curb stomp almost on Yuka. And after that, fans were chanting, "Britt, you suck." Sakazaki sold the jaw and her teeth, and she looks up and she starts feeling her teeth, and all of a sudden you see a tooth in her hand. Blood starts dripping from her mouth. She then gets freaked out that a tooth fell into her palm. Baker then put Sakazaki in the lockjaw, and that was pretty much it. That was it. I don't know where this is going, but it played up the fact that, Britt Baker's a dentist, and she just made someone lose her tooth. I don't know where this is going, but it was a decent attempt at getting heel heat on Britt Baker. Now, I don't know if the fans know who Yuka Sakazaki is in fucking Alabama, but I look at this from a casual fan's perspective. Yuka is tiny. Yuka is colorful, and she looks like a little child in there. And here you got Britt Baker, the woman who thinks she is the most beautiful woman in all of AEW, and she's a dentist, and she's smart, right? And she's curb stomping poor Yuka on the bottom turnbuckle, or the bottom rope, and she forces her to lose a tooth. It's good heel heat, I guess. I don't know where this is going. I didn't see anything in this match that's going to make me say, Britt Baker's gotten better. And Yuka, by the way, is better than Riho. Just by this one showing here alone. That's my 2 cents on fucking Yuka and Riho. The Butcher and the Blade, with the Lucha Brothers versus the Young Bucks, Matt and Nick, Kenny Omega and Adam Hangman Page, 8-man tag team action here on AEW Dynamite. Justin Roberts introduced the Butcher and the Blade first with the Bunny. Of course, can't forget the Bunny. He then introduced the Lucha Brothers. Then the Elites came out. Page walked out by himself. He did not stand on the ramp and wait for his other teammates. The Be Elite theme song was playing. He charged right to the ring. Power walked right to the ring. Impatiently went ahead of everybody else. Then the Bucks and Omega followed and posed on the stage like they should as an elite group together. Page and Blade started out. Page had a series of chops. Omega tagged in for the Kotaro Crusher. Nick got a tag. Bucks hit dropkicks on Pentagon, who came in to interfere with Fenix. Butcher jumped in and ate a triple dropkick from the Bucks and Omega, and then hit a triple pescado. Page stood on the apron, and he looked like he did not give a single shit. That's that. So just before the commercial break, Fenix hit a crazy, unbelievable springboard swanton off the rope to the floor, wiping out literally all of the babyface team. Back inside, the heels worked over Nick during the commercial break. Back in from break, Matt got the hot tag, ran wild with his Northern Light suplexes on both the Lucha Brothers. First on Fenix and then on Pentagon. Pentagon and Fenix. Actually, I'm sorry. Fenix hit a springboard arm drag to Matt. Pentagon then doubled up on Omega with Fenix. Omega and the Butcher ended up as the legal men. Omega hit a Hurricane Rana. Tag Page, who ran wild with an electric hot tag all over the place. Dives, suplex, moonsault out to the floor, taking out all of the heel team. This is where things went crazy. I did not know who the legal man was for the last 6 or 7 minutes of this match. And you know what? I didn't give a shit. I really didn't give a shit. Pentagon hit a destroyer to Matt. Butcher hit a power bomb to Nick. I barely took notes on this fucking thing, typing away. Pentagon hit the destroyer on Matt. Butcher hit a power bomb to Nick. Omega hit Fenix. Pentagon and Blade were Snapdragon suplexes. Snapdragon City is what Jim Ross stated. Thought he was going to say Suplex City, but thank God he didn't. Because then you'll be dipping into WWE territory. Matt hit a sliced bread to the Butcher. There was a super kick party. Omega hit a V-trigger on Fenix. Page and Penta ended up as the legal men after all of this fucking chaos. The Bucks wanted Page to tag them in. Page said no. He did not tag the Bucks in. Penta hit a destroyer to Paige. Fenix and Penta hit the combination double stomp package pile driver on Paige. Fenix then hit a fucking, he shot out of a fucking cannon. Tope to Omega. And I think that took out the Bucks as well. Someone took out the Bucks on the outside. It might have been the Butcher and the Blade. I don't know. But that left Penta to pin Paige in the middle of the ring because of Paige's refusal to make the tag. All he had to do was make the tag. Reminds me of Bret Hart and Owen Hart in 1994, Royal Rumble. You know, before Owen kicked his leg out of his leg. Oh, yeah, I remember Owen. I remember like this was yesterday. The promo he got, all you had to do was make the tag, Bret. Make the tag. My hand was there. All you had to do was make the tag, but you're selfish. I don't know why I thought of that. That's what I thought of. Paige lost the match for his team because he was selfish. If you guys think back to when all of this started happening with Paige, he was pretty much the savior, you know? He is feeling neglected, and then he get the hot tag and be the last guy in. He take care of business, cowboy shit, buckshot, lariat, right? All that stuff. He would end up getting the win and be the last guy standing. Like, I told you so. Like, you know, and then you don't give me the fucking respect I deserve. Now, he wanted to do it again. He wanted to take all the spotlight for himself, and he didn't tag the Bucks, which ended up costing them this match here. So I thought this was awesome. After the match, there was obviously some commotion back and forth with the Elites. Why didn't you make the tag? Paige was yelling at the Bucks. Omega was in the middle trying to break this thing up and calm everybody down. He left the ring, and he took a beer, chugged the beer at ringside from a fan, and then disappeared into the crowd. And that was that. Now, the only thing that I would say, because I'm loving this angle. I'm loving everything about it. And you could see, you know, some people want to argue with me on social media. You could see that giving the spotlight and the tag team titles to Omega and Paige and the Bucks, it's obviously going to pay off big time for them. Because look at the reactions that this match alone, look at the matches that these guys have had. Bucks and Omega and Paige as of late. Tag team division's on fire with them being on fire most. Look at the reactions that Alabama gave the Bucks and Omega and Paige tonight. They are superstars to these people. They need to be at the forefront. And everything else will follow into place after that. We all thought as a community that it should be the other way around. The Bucks and Omega and Paige, they got to be there to build new stars up. You can't build new stars unless you are in position to make that happen. And that's exactly what they're doing here. Paige has looked better than ever being in this storyline with Omega and the Bucks. This is the best we've seen of Paige. He's starting to show some charisma and some personality. Omega is great. I love Omega. I love everything about Omega. The Bucks, I think they're one of the most solid tag teams that you'll come across, period. Their offense is absolutely fucking phenomenal. And the fact that all four of these guys are now vying for the tag team championships, that's the way it needs to be. Because look at the reactions that all four of these guys got in this match. These people look at them, and like I said, they look at superstar. These guys could do no wrong. The only thing I wish AEW would do as far as this story goes is give us a better understanding of why Adam Page is doing what he is doing. Why is he having this sort of attitude? I think AEW looks at us and thinks that we know. Or we watch Being the Elite, or we watch Dark. I haven't watched Being the Elite in several weeks now. I haven't watched Dark ever. So I don't really look at those, and I should, but for my sake only. I'm not saying that should be the case. But if anything is being told on that, then whatever's told on that or those shows should be relayed to this show, because this is their main show. I want a better understanding of why Page is doing and acting like he is, and I want that to come from him. And I hope that we do get that eventually, which leads to us getting this tag team match. It's unofficial right now because Page and Omega have SCU coming up soon. I believe next week for the tag team titles rematch. but I want to hear from him as to why he is doing what he's doing and his attitude as of late. As soon as we get a better understanding of that, then I think it's going to take the storyline to that next level. Shivani tried to interview Omega in the ring, but as soon as Omega was about to speak, Pac interrupted on the big screen. Pac said apparently Omega doesn't care about Michael Nakazawa, but maybe he'll care more about poor little Riho. Pac stared at her threateningly. So he was threatening Riho, and I didn't understand why Riho was just standing there like a little fucking Pokemon, scared in the wild, standing there with the women's championship. Oh, we have a women's champion. And there she is, wearing an AEW hoodie, looking all terrified. So Pac was standing there, and I don't know why she was standing there. Like, she could have easily run away. And it made even less sense when Nyla Rose came out after this. I'm like, why the fuck was Riho even standing there? Like, okay, you're scared, but you could back away. You could run away. He's not threatening you with a weapon. He's not holding you. He didn't put a hand on you. Run away. Made her look like a fucking imbecile. So she's standing there scared. She stood there. She didn't run away as Pac turned to Omega and started talking to Omega on the big screen because Omega was in the ring with Shivani. So Pac turned to Omega and said he can stop what he was about to do. Omega said he can have his match because he didn't want anything to happen to Riho. Pac said, finally, was that really so hard? He then said, oh, I wasn't going to put my hands on Riho. I'm not that type of guy. You know, I'm a bastard, but I'm not that type of guy. So he walked away from this. He didn't put a hand on Riho and said, listen, I may be a bastard, but I'm not a beast. She is. And then out comes Nyla Rose. Nyla Rose attacked Riho from behind and powerbombed her through a table backstage. She then turned to the camera, licked her hand, and said, Riho, you are now marked, and next week, your ass is mine. Fade to black. So someone please explain to me why Riho didn't run away. This made Riho look even more stupid after Nyla Rose came out. Now, the way I would have presented this was Pac was standing there. I'm assuming Riho and Nyla Rose were going to have a contract signing for the AEW Women's Championship, because that match is next week too, I believe. I can't wait to see Nyla Rose win the championship and then everybody complain that she shouldn't be in the women's division. This was supposed to be a contract signing. This made no sense. The way I would have booked it was if Pac wanted to interrupt this little situation here, why wasn't Nyla Rose holding Riho from behind? It made Nyla Rose look even more stupid that she was just off in the distance somewhere, waiting for her cue to come out here and powerbomb Riho through a table, of which didn't break. The table didn't even break. So it's like, what the fuck, man? This made Riho look like a dummy. Nyla Rose should have been the one holding Riho hostage and then giving off the impression that Pac was going to slap her around a little bit. And then Nyla Rose could have did what she did to Riho because she had Riho in her grasp. Powerbomb. Table didn't break because Riho is like 70 fucking pounds. And that's that. That's that. So we're getting a women's championship match, and Pac versus Omega is official. When? Where? I'll tell you in a second. Darby Allin had a video vignette showing him outside in a, it looks like a cemetery or a dark somewhere. It was black and white. And he was standing amongst cardboard cutouts of Jericho and Sammy Guevara. And he took a flamethrower and started flaming the cardboard cutouts with the flamethrower. Lit them on fire. And then he looked into the camera and he gave this mean, nasty look into the camera. So I'm guessing Darby Allin's coming for Jericho, Sammy, or both. I don't know. I thought it was great. Simple, to the point, and it perfectly told you everything you need to know about Darby Allin. Crazy motherfucker. Kip Sabian with Penelope Ford versus Joey Janela. This was just a match thrown out there to eat up TV time before we get to the main event, which was Cody and MJF. This really wasn't all that exciting. I mean, I don't care. I don't care who's dating who. I don't care whose ex is who. I don't care. Janela hit a DVD for 2. They traded strikes. Sabian hit a DDT. Ford jumped on the apron and kissed Sabian. Janela hit the ropes. He tried to hit Sabian, but nailed Ford with a back elbow, sending her down to the floor. Sabian then used a schoolboy with the tights to win the match. Ford sold her knee. Sabian helped it to the back. No heat. Match had no interest or no heat from the audience. Nobody cared. Mid-card title is needed in AEW. And the other thing, Joey Janela has better hair than Penelope Ford, and that's just wrong, man. That is just wrong. I could see why Penelope Ford upgraded, though. I could really see that. Sabian over Janela any day of the week. I'm glad Kip Sabian's getting some TV time, but this was dead. Nobody cared. And it was just a match thrown out there to get us to what we are going to talk about now. And that is MJF and Cody Rhodes. Before that happened, backstage, Alex Marvez attempted to interview the Inner Circle. Jericho took the microphone away from him and did everybody's fucking wish. Just take the microphone away from Alex Marvez. He called Moxley a piece of crap for taking a spike and driving it into someone's eye. He said he'll pay. Santana said his eye is covered. He stood up and said, listen, my eye may be covered, but I had the worst month of my life. And he's thrown gasoline onto the flames. Said he has no idea what it's like to walk in his shoes the last 29 years of his life. Said next week he's going to take him on a walk in the dark. Said next week it's going to be eye for an eye. At this point, might as well have a fucking blindfold match with these guys. They both got one eye. Interesting. Should be awesome. Santana is just as nasty as Ortiz. I'm looking forward to that very much. The Bucks interrupted an interview with Paige backstage with Lexi, the new interviewer. They asked him why he didn't make the tag. All you had to do was make the tag. Matt said he was about to ask him what the problem is, but I think I know what the problem is. And took Adam Hangman Page's beer away from him. Now, he walked in with a beer, and he walked in with the AEW Tag Team title. There was no other visible he wasn't wearing pants, he was wearing his wrestling trunks. Came in with a beer in one hand and his title over the shoulder with his hand holding the title up on his shoulder. Nowhere else could this have been a thing. So, he took his beer, Matt took the beer out of Adam's hand, walked away, and then Paige picked up another pitcher of beer and started drinking from the pitcher of beer. Now, where did this beer come from? Is Adam Hangman Page a magician when he's not wrestling? Can he turn one beer into a pitcher of beer? If so, can someone please get me his phone number and we can go out and bar hop in New York City next time he's here? That would be fantastic. Where did this beer come from? Did someone give it to him from underneath? Did this beer come magically from catering? Was this beer sitting in front of him on a table somewhere that we didn't see on camera? I need to know this type of stuff, man. I need to know this type of information. But at this point, the Young Bucks said that Adam Hangman Page is an alcoholic without actually saying he's an alcoholic. Santana versus Moxley was official for next week, as you guys seen in that promo. Tag Team Battle Royal was announced for 2 weeks from tonight in Atlanta. The winning team getting a title shot at Revolution. If anybody from AEW is listening to me, please don't go and do the WWE Tag Team Battle Royal route. When one man of a team is eliminated in WWE, then that entire team is eliminated. Please, for the love of Christ, no. I hope the Bucks, who are in charge of this, who more than likely will win this, are in charge of this, do the right thing. We need, if one man is eliminated, then the other guy still has a chance to win it for his fucking team. Please. I beg of you. I don't need to get on my hands and knees. I already did that once with fucking SmackDown 2 weeks ago. Please. Please. Do it right by the Tag Team Battle Royal rules. Pac versus Omega Iron Man match was announced 3 weeks from tonight. 30 minutes Iron Man match. If AEW wants to sell that, I would sell that as uninterrupted. No commercial breaks. Pac versus Omega, 30 minutes. Take my money. That's going to be a fucking classic. Can't wait to see what happens there. Cody receives 10 lashes from MJF. We're going to get into that in a second. Got to shout out my sponsor for tonight's show, Audible, audibletrial.com/offthescript. 30 days free of their service and 1 free audiobook of your choice. You guys got over 200,000 choices to choose from, a lot of which are wrestling related. You guys can actually use our link, audibletrial.com/offthescript, and pre-order Jim Ross's new book, which I'm assuming is much better than his commentary nowadays, Under the Black Hat. That's going to be out at the end of March, right before WrestleMania. You guys can get that for free and pre-order it now using our link, audibletrial.com/offthescript. 30 days free and 1 free audiobook is yours just for listening to the podcast. So go and sign up, and I want to thank them and you guys for supporting my friends over at Audible. Cody receives 10 lashes from MJF. This was the best segment in all of AEW television so far. I loved everything about this, man. I loved everything about this. MJF walked to the ring with Wardlow. There was a sign in the crowd that said MJF likes to lash himself. Cody made his grand entrance as usual. Very nice to see this as the main event of the show. Now, typically, nothing is bigger than the AEW Championship or a company's World Championship. The reason why this is going on is because this is the most personal and this is the most emotional storyline in all of AEW right now. And it actually takes the cake as far as comparison to Moxley and Jericho. So that's my opinion on that. And to me, if it's the most important thing in the company right now, on this particular TV show at this particular time, then it deserves to be in the main event. And I thought this was the right decision. Cody was declothing, or at least taking his suit, his shirt, and I guess just baring his skin to MJF here during the split-screen commercial break. MJF was clapping along to the side of this. He was very happy. Like a fucking kid in a candy store was MJF. MJF says, hold on the microphone. MJF says his belt is way too nice to whip Cody with. He asked Cody for his belt and started yelling, "Now! Do you want the match?" He asks Cody. Cody gives him his belt. MJF is touring with Cody at this point, snapping the belt behind his back, right in his ear, laughing. Chants of Cody. First lash, Cody on the right shoulder. Cody on the right shoulder. MJF gets Cody on the right shoulder. Not too bad. Not too bad. I'm saying not too bad, but I know if I'm whipped like that in the right shoulder with a leather belt, I know we all felt it back in the day when we were being whipped by our parents for being bad. Now, you guys might have got the leather belt. I got the wooden spoon. So I don't know which is worse, the belt or the spoon. Let me know. Or if you guys got beat at all. That's the way my parents used to do it. I was bad, or I did something bad, or I deserved to be hit, right, as a young kid. I got the wooden spoon. Simple. Some people got the leather belt. I don't know. At this point, I think I would have taken the fucking wooden spoon the way MJF and Wardlow, by the way, hit Cody. First one got Cody on the right shoulder, like I said, and then the second one looked like it hurt like a bitch, right in the center of the top part of his back. The third one, again over the right shoulder. You started to see Cody's shoulder all red already, and that grew and grew and grew over time. He became lacerated over time. He fell to one knee. Cody fell to one knee. Arn Anderson comes out to the ring, charging down the aisle. MJF yells to Arn Anderson, "You can't save him, old man. Coach him up now." Dick. I love it. It's exactly what I would have said, man. Sounds like something I would have said. "You can't save him now, old man. Let me see you coach him up now." So, after that, we got Arn Anderson now as a spectator for this thing. MJF took his dress shirt off now, wearing nothing but a black tank top. He's getting comfy. MJF is getting comfy. Again over the right shoulder for the fourth. Cody on his knees now. MJF yelling in his face, "Quit! Quit!" Fifth one, center of the back. Cody now visibly bleeding from these shots. Dustin Rhodes comes out, gets in the ring and tells MJF to stop. "This is not how it works. You want to take over for him? Get out of my ring and watch along like everyone else," says MJF. He is in complete control. So we got two quick ones, a sixth and a seventh. I guess Dustin made MJF angry. Right in the small of the back, Cody on his knees again. MJF yelling, "Quit, quit. They can't help you." Matt and Nick Jackson come out now to support Cody. MJF is in the ring. He's just chilling on the top turnbuckle like Tyler Breeze used to do. Just laid out, spread across the top turnbuckle, just watching everybody just try and give Cody words of encouragement. The eighth one on the top of the back. Nasty. "Stay down, bitch. Stay down," yelled MJF. Cody walked around a bit before going down again, sold this beautifully. Got up. He gave MJF the middle finger. MJF was going for a ninth, but Wardlow took the belt. Wardlow unbuttoned his jacket, took his jacket off, and wanted to hit Cody with the belt. Holy shit. Wardlow, like he's fucking Randy Johnson back in the early 90s on the Seattle Mound at the Dome, right? Pitcher for the Mariners. He wound up like Randy Johnson throwing a 102-mile-an-hour fastball and nailed Cody so bad that I think everybody gasped watching this show live on TNT. He stayed down. He stayed down after that shot. Brandy came out. She left her fucking collection of nightmares. And she was wearing regular clothes. I wonder if they dropped the entire NyQuil collective. Because this is the first time we've seen Brandy with Cody or come out for Cody since the Nightmare Collective was a thing. She came out, tears in her eyes, very emotional. Everybody was getting sad over this. The commentary team was selling this with their soft voices. And she kept telling him, "You could do it, you could do it, you could do it. One more, one more." The 10th and final lash, MJF, instead of on the back, lashed him right in the chest. MJF dropped the belt immediately after he lashed Cody in the chest with that 10th and final lash. It looked like MJF didn't believe what he did. He didn't believe he actually did that, let alone the 10 lashes altogether. I looked at this and I seen some sympathy from MJF, and just as I thought that thought bubble went up in smoke. MJF kicked Cody right in the dick. Cody was in the ring with everybody, and as everybody was there consoling Cody, MJF squeezed in there, got in there, quarterback sneak, and kicked Cody right in the cock. He ran out of the ring like he robbed a fucking old lady of her purse coming out of Stop and Shop. He ran with Wardlow so quick that they vanished into the crowd. They ran up the steps. And then I don't know what the fuck was going on up there. It looked like a rowdy fan was doing something to MJF. Wanted to fight MJF. It looked like Wardlow had taken this guy behind the black curtain and fucking beat the shit out of him. I don't know if that was a plant or if that was planned or if that was some legit drunkard in Alabama. He got what he deserved then. Because I know I wouldn't want to be on the receiving end of fucking Wardlow. But they escaped, and that's the way the show went off the air. This was absolutely fantastic. I wanted to take detailed notes about this because I knew this was going to be fantastic. That was the best Dynamite segment in all 18 weeks of Dynamite so far on TNT. Guys, the vast differences here. And I don't want to hear anybody tell me, oh, look at this guy sucking AEW cock. Daniel Bryan and Bray Wyatt did the same thing. No, they didn't. They had a strap match because Daniel Bryan didn't want the Fiend to run away anymore. This was a strap match at the Royal Rumble that had no emotion. It didn't have any heat behind it. It was just made because the entire angle is cartoonish. The entire angle is cartoonish. Now, whereas that's cartoonish, now we go over to AEW. Cody wants MJF. MJF knows that Cody wants him. So MJF is going to do anything he can to humiliate, batter, beat Cody in any which way before we get to that match at Revolution. He's putting him through the ringer. You want this match so bad, Cody, you got to do what I say. You got to listen to me. 10 lashes, and you got to get through Wardlow in Atlanta in a steel cage. This is old school storytelling. The reason why this was more, in my eyes, a better segment than what Bray Wyatt and Daniel Bryan did in their match at the Royal Rumble is because Cody Rhodes' storytelling is on another level compared to a Daniel Bryan and a Bray Wyatt. The emotion in this alone made this something that I would rather invest in than watch a Daniel Bryan Bray Wyatt match. I'm not taking anything away from that match. That was the best Fiend match that we've had with Bray Wyatt under that gimmick for the Universal Championship. It's been the best Fiend match, period. And a lot of that has to go to Daniel Bryan as well. Because I don't think Bray Wyatt is going to have a great match with Roman Reigns like he did with Daniel Bryan. I'm sorry. Daniel Bryan and everybody else on the SmackDown roster, Bryan's here, everybody else is underneath him. Not taking anything away from that match. There was no emotion in that match. It was just, oh, look at Daniel Bryan get whipped for the sake of being whipped because it was a strap match. With every whip that MJF gave Cody and the time in between, him relishing in the fact and him taking his time and him toying with Cody, every lash that happened thereafter was more intense. It was more emotional. And the fact that MJF played with everybody's emotions made every whip that much more worse than the last one. Even got Wardlow involved just to embarrass Cody some more because he knows he can get away with it. The emotional just situation here with Cody and MJF superseded anything that Daniel Bryan and Bray Wyatt did. And the pacing of this, the toying of MJF to Cody, everything about this made it much more intense. Now, I'm not saying that Cody took a bigger beating than Daniel Bryan. I mean, that's physically impossible. Where Daniel Bryan took 40 fucking lashes, Cody took 10. But Cody's 10 were more intense because of all the emotion that went into every lash. With every fucking minute that MJF played up to the crowd and played up to Cody, it made every lash that much more intense. This was the best segment on AEW Dynamite to date. And I can't wait to see the next phase of this where Cody is in the ring with MJF. Well, actually with MJF for Revolution, but when Cody's in the ring with Wardlow, how they book that. And just seeing what we've seen here tonight and everything with this storyline so far, there's no doubt in my mind that they're going to kill it as always. Very solid episode of Dynamite. That ending and that segment was fucking brilliant. Guys, I'm getting out of here. Thank you so very much for all your support. And if you enjoyed the podcast, let me know down below. Hit that thumbs up. I would really appreciate that. Follow me on social media at JD from NY206. That is on Instagram and Twitter. If you guys are on Instagram, look at my latest post. I have a giveaway going on with my good friends over at Tavor. All you have to do is follow Tavor on Instagram. Everything you need is in the description of that picture. Follow Tavor on Instagram. Like the picture. I will choose one winner on Monday during Raw. And we are going to have a $100 gift card sent directly to you thanks to my good friends over at Divorce. So make sure you guys take part in that. Again, Twitter, at JD from NY206. Same thing on Instagram. Make sure you guys check out all the other videos that you might have missed on the channel. Off the script from this past weekend, Monday Night Raw. Had some Luigi's Mansion go up today. NXT tomorrow afternoon. And then another weekend of Off the Script. So make sure you guys tune into that as well. And I will see you guys right back here tomorrow for NXT. Charlotte Flair, Rhea Ripley, the return of the Velveteen Dream. We got a lot going on NXT. Can't wait to talk about it with you guys right here on OTS. Again, hit that thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you right back here tomorrow morning for NXT. See you guys then.